Hello and welcome to Base Plate Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a project which is mocking and modifying this Lego Friends set, so the Restaurant and Cooking School 42655. This is one that goes for $80 US, but straight off the bat I would say don't pay that price for it, don't pay full recommended retail price. I've seen it with discounts plenty of times on Amazon and I'm sure other places too. I suspect that once it comes around to Black Friday we might get some really good deals on this one. Now this goes 22 studs across from here to here, so pretty nice size from a width perspective, but of course it's a friend set, so we are looking at an open backed set. Also got some gaps in the side here as well. We might be able to incorporate that though, but there are a fair few issues that we're going to have. One of the reasons I would say don't pay the full $80 for this, an awful lot of the parts are taken up like this, and we've got some of them just down at the side here to basically make your own meals for the mini dolls. So a lot of the piece count is taken up by those parts, those tiny little parts to make meals, etc. Now on top of the fact that we're going to need to change this up various ways, one of the issues I've got is I probably don't have enough of this colour brick, and cool yellow is a really tricky colour to get hold of actually, but I did run into some cool yellow 2x4 bricks in the pick a brick wall at the Lego store, so of course it won't be one buys, but I think we can work with that, that's okay. On top of that, actual size wise, and I will show a comparison to another Lego Modular, the actual first level here is really quite short. It's only like 7 bricks high and that's a bit too short, so we're going to need to raise that up. Of course that's going to cause some issues with the shaping and stuff for the facade here, but all challenges I think can be overcome, and I'll show you the actual size comparisons versus an official modular now. When we take a look at this versus Birch Books, the bookshop modular just there, I think we can see that overall it doesn't really compare, but of course this is only really 2 levels. This has got 1, 2 and 3, but it is that first level where there's a real discrepancy. So I think you can see where the cool yellow stops just there and we're going up another few bricks. So this is really only the first level here, 7 bricks tall. Normally we're looking at about 9 to 10 bricks tall with a regular modular, so definitely need to get that raised up, but let's get that out of the way. The other thing that I mentioned before is I'm pretty sure I don't have enough of these bricks to get that enclosed in the same colour. I have a few of course, but that's not going to do it, so I think our alternatives are going to be potentially this kind of muddy brown colour just here. We could just go regular tan, and of course that would match up pretty well with the facade that we've got at the front of the cooking school, the restaurant. Or we could go for a more traditional Lego Friends colour, so I've got lots of these lilac masonry bricks, and actually I think that might work pretty well. So I think probably between these two, but I'll decide that as we go along. Definitely what I do need to do is get this all enclosed. Pretty sure we can do that in cool yellow along the ground level, and we'll want an exit door at the back of the restaurant as well. Of course this is 22 studs wide, which means it's not taking up the entirety of the base plate, but I think that what we can do is we can move some of this space, and apologies I've moved the tables, can use some of this space which is there for patrons to dine at and move that around to the side. Also the other place that we can have this, currently this is enclosed, but if I take this off, I know it's got a load of food parts in there, but they're pretty easy to remove. We can have this as a rooftop dining, and especially if we expand how long this is, I think this has got the potential to be pretty good. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start work on it and come back to you once I've stripped this right back. This basically breaks down into 4 parts then. So we've got the ground level, and you can see I've removed all the kind of banisters and stuff like that, all the tables and chairs. Actually, let's get that menu stand out of the way. So just that. Then we've got the second level, and again you can see I've just removed the restaurant sign that was just clipped on at the front there. We've got the top level. Now if we're going to be using this, I think we're going to need to take up all of this tile so that we've actually got some areas where we can stand minifigures rather than just sliding about on the tile. And I think we can probably lose this roof element that would sit and cover this over, and that had all of those just small parts in. In terms of the interior, pretty easy to strip most of the stuff out that was just inside there. I'll do the same with bits which are jutting out, like the food mixer, etc. here, just to make the interior a bit simpler. And then we should be ready to get cracking and reinvent this. Key to be able to do projects like this, of course, is getting the parts you need. And of course you could order exactly which parts you need, but I actually hit up the pick-a-brick wall, and what you might be able to see in under those white tiles, these are actually a load of 2x4 cool yellow bricks, which should work perfectly for that ground level. Also, in this pick-a-brick box, I managed to pick up a load of 1x3 cool yellow plate. If I get the fern elements out of the way, I should be able to pick one of these up. So I think that's going to work pretty well for getting this raised up to the height that I want. And other than that, you just have to work with what you get given, really. Sometimes I tend to find that Bricklink can be pretty expensive in terms of trying to find exactly which parts you need from the same seller, just because of the transportation costs. I'd be paying over $25 normally to be able to fulfill any Bricklink order, just in terms of postage and packing. So it gets pretty expensive, and that's why, you know, just trying to work out, can I use parts that I've already got in my collection, like the lilac masonry bricks, just sub out different colours is sometimes what you need to do. Anyway, I'm going to make a decision. I think I'm going to go for the lilac for that second level, but let's get the first level done and then come back. This is my first pass at that ground level then, so we've raised it up to be basically 8 bricks tall, so just a little bit taller. Still not as tall as some of the modular buildings in terms of the ground floor, but I think fairly decent. It's going to mean it's going to have a step up to the front door, and then there's going to be a step down in the interior. But at the moment I think it's looking a bit too box-like. We've got a door at the back just there, and if we're planning on having this area to the side where there's going to be some seating, I think that we can open this up. So I think we can stick a clear panel piece in as window just there, and then I think we might put an open door, an arch doorway just to the side of it, and that should open this side out a lot more, make it a lot more interesting. So I'm going to just take this whole side away and then redo that. After a bit more rebuilding then, I've been able to remodel this, and we should see we've got that window at the side, that arch doorway just there, and we've also got a window at the rear. This side is much flatter. I've also added in this area here, so this toilet, basically switched the bathroom where it was over here to this side. We've also tiled that off, so that's all white tiles inside there. And in the interior here, we've gone by 1x2 tiles everywhere, and we've also got a table just into the side here. So not a bad start. What I also did need to do was just make it 1 stud longer, because I had it and it was 15 studs. That's just not ideal in terms of the next level for the plates, so made that a nice 16 studs, And now we should be pretty good for getting this onto there. Obviously need to make this out to 16 studs, so doubling the size of it, but that shouldn't be difficult. And of course changing up the colour most likely of the whole level. Anyway, let's crack on with that and then we should be pretty close to done. And here's our second level. So from the front looks fairly similar, but we can start to see the lilac just down the sides there. And if I spin this around, we've got a window on this side just like downstairs, a window at the rear. We've got this contrast for the corners with the dark grey on both corners. Also got a window on this side, so plenty of light coming in. We've then got two sections, two areas here. So we've got the actual kitchen area all around here. I've incorporated those panel pieces, so moved one of the panel pieces that was on the outside and made it an interior wall, and again with the wall just here. Then we've got separate little area at the back there, and that works its way all the way around to a fairly narrow corridor where we do still have the pet bowl just there. This all fits perfectly onto the base level, but what I'll do is I'll show you that on there next, and we're very close to complete at that stage. Okay, so a lot of progress, and the building itself is actually complete now pretty much. So we've got a fully detailed interior on the ground floor and on that first floor, or second floor if you're in North America, we call it first floor in the UK. And we've got a rooftop area. That's pretty simple, just really the detailing around the outside makes it look decent. But we do still need to get this front bit done. We're going to need a bit of the side to be created for a dining area for patrons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this onto a Mills plate and then work on it from there, rather than try and do all that build and then get it onto the Mills plate. Of course, what I really needed to do to get this completed was not just the building itself, but also the exterior area. So we've got this tile pattern for where we can have people meeting guests, then an outdoor seating area just around the side here. You can see I've also just tiled this off with the dark grey tiles so it fits with the rest of my sidewalks. If I spin this around, we've reused those banisters just here, couple of tables with seats, and of course we also do have that indoor seating area just there as well. But we don't stop just there, because around to the rear we've got some rubbish bins or garbage cans, including some for recycling, etc. And they are unfortunately attracting rats, which isn't the most hygienic, especially when we've got some of our fresh produce being stored just here as well. I think it's a bit of a fun touch for the back alley and makes it all come to life a bit more. Overall, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this, but let me know what you think in the comments below, and please do leave a like, consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already, and we're going to be doing a lot more work on trying to create some more buildings for a fully customised city. I just wanted to show what this looked like once you put it up alongside another couple of the actual official modulars. So assembly square to one side, that Birch Books half modular at the side there, and we've got it alongside how I have my road set up as well. Obviously it isn't as tall as those, and maybe I should have gone maybe one brick higher for each level maybe. I think that might have been a good idea, or if I'd added a full third level rather than just that rooftop area, I think this would have matched up pretty well in terms of size. I think that it's definitely not looking like a complete outlier, and like I said before, I am looking to completely make my city fully custom, so I'm pretty pleased. I think this is going to work out well. in the city. Like I said, I really do hope you've enjoyed this and it's shown you what's possible to do with a Lego Friends set. I did of course recently put together a few of the Spider-Man building sets, but this has been a whole lot cheaper process than this, because I did of course get this at a discount, the just Friends Restaurant and Cooking School, and then the rest of this is pretty much exclusively parts from the Pick a Brick wall or Pick and Build wall for the rest of it. And I mean, it has to be quite a few parts, but definitely a lot cheaper than buying two of these and combining them. I'm not sure that that would have quite done the job anyway. And I think that it's ended up looking more than good enough to go into the city. So hopefully you have enjoyed it. Please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and with that I'll leave you and say as ever, be good.